We're going live. I gotta go get Jacob some water. So we're gonna do this. See you in a second. What are we doing? Jacob has been watered. I am back, and by now you have had a moment to peruse our. I think it's a nice motto we've got going on here. And I'm going to have a sound echo. Let's turn that off. Let's plug that in so that we can use this second screen cellular device here to monitor chat. Let's rearrange our layout. No, I don't want to leave. There, I want to change layout. Let's do that. All right, welcome everybody. So we're going to do a little streaming again today. We're going to shoot again for that hour or so, and we're going to begin to look at Corn Creek here as I do the vaguest amount of PR and shoot out this link to a place or two. There we go. Okay, one last one. Here you have a quote I like. I got it from a local chef, and so it's not original to me. But even he didn't know where where it originated. He got it from another chef, but I like it. We, the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing, I added the. I say that a lot. I know. See, there's an I know, and that even felt different. It did. Is just like habitual. So, okay. We need to name this thing. We didn't do that. This is number 4. All right, and let's bring it back full screen, and we're going to get rolling here because I do know, there's a few people in the chat. What's up, Christine. So let me start managing my chat properly here. It's a lot. I mean, it's really not a lot, you know, but it's a lot. And now see, now I got to mute that to monitor the chat. There we go. So everybody say hello to. There's Miss CMS. How's your day going? You at work? You better not be. This is not worth your work time. I mean, yeah, it might be. There's Tammy. Tammy, what's up? Friends in the afternoon. There she is. Good to see you, Tammy. Chicken, burgers, mac and cheese for dinner. I had burger for lunch. I'm kind of doing eggs and burgers here recently because I know where the chickens are and I know where the cow came from. And so I don't have to worry about trusting it. And you got to keep the weight on, you know, and add in a bunch of butter and salt. Uh-oh. What did Sarah say at the opening here? What's up, Sarah? When you set up a live feed, there's 3 dots next to each platform that'll let you customize the title so it doesn't always say welcome to our live show. Can I do it now? Do I have to do it beforehand? Because I don't see 3 dots now. It just says uploading. So, okay. So, yeah, I've been wondering how to change that title. At first, I thought if I did it in Riverside, that would do it, and it didn't. It just saves that in Riverside. So I've been going right away and editing YouTube, but there. So, yeah, Tammy. Yeah, Miss CMS. That's Christine Doc. Okay, Catman. What's up, Christos? Keeper of the Institute for Natural Philosophy's Discord channel, where you can find many of these folks. I know, Sarah, I'm already hungry again. I just cooked up a beef patty like maybe an hour ago, but you'll see we went walking today and we encountered a lot of nature. We heard buzzards and bees and snakes, but we're going to get started at Corn Creek here. So, okay, we've got the usual crew in place, so I won't dally past, what's my time? 7 minutes? That's good. That's enough warm up. Okay, so I'm going to pull up. If you saw yesterday's or any others, you will realize that I'm going to try to get everybody situated geographically with the place that we're looking at by using a little Google Earth. But I'm also trying to keep my windows minimized, as you might have learned yesterday. That can, you know, screw with the bandwidth. TreeBuddy in the Discord was telling me that it like pulls on the memory, or it calls for memory check on the computer, and so it just it screws everything up. Okay, yeah, no, and I want to. Where are we gonna? We're gonna go to Corn Creek today, so we want to zoom into Wetumpka, Alabama. Brilliant. Okay, dismiss. We do not want help, thank you. All right, let's come back over here, see who else. Now you would edit it in your YouTube content tab. Yeah. Okay, there's a YouTube content tab in my Riverside studio. See, I'm not even that far yet. You had a handful of peanut M&Ms, but tasted weird, so I gave up. Yeah, exactly. So I heard that even Reese's, because the grandson or grandnephew of the founder of Reese's publicly condemned, you know, the recent product because it's all fake. You know, there's no more real ingredients in it. So even they publicly had to come out and say they were going back to real ingredients. So full admission right there that it's all toxins. Anyhow, okay, let's get rid of sharing. So I need to find that tab, which is going to be minimized here. There it is, getting quicker. And let's say stop sharing by closing it. There we go. Now we're back on full. What's up, everybody? How's the backdrop? I forgot to light candles. Look at me. See, that's another reason I've yet to schedule these things is, you know, I'm trying to get some sort of footage each day, right, that I can then show for at least 2 of these episodes. And I'm also trying to just get as many under me as I can to get some practice. I probably need some foreground light, don't I? I'm just doing all the jobs. Is that too much? That's probably too much. Yeah, I know. Current Reese's don't even have fucking peanuts in them. It's sad because I love Reese's, you know? So I just buy my own peanut butter. There's actually a brand, Jason's, For real. And it's pretty good. I haven't like run it through the toxin test, but it's listed and tasted ingredients are peanuts, salt, and they make one with honey, and it doesn't get all oily like a lot of those do. On top, it doesn't really separate, just a little bit. But it's really good. And you take that and a little like chocolate, real chocolate, if you can find it anymore. Did you see the guy? I saw a video. A guy took all the fancy brands, or what used to be like Lint and Dove, and he ran them through the toxins test, and they all came back with lead. It's just crazy. It's bad. I shouldn't even be saying this, see, but I mean, you should know it's part of this weird ass system we're all waking up in, right? It's like it hurts to know, but at the same time, once you know, how do you not share? And Sarah, you told me how to adjust this title live in YouTube. See, I didn't even know how to YouTube Suite. Okay, so that's the last little thing we'll send off, and we'll quit talking about food. Yeah, I've got some guests. At some point, again, when I'm talking guests, I'm talking like people in my life, right? Friends, local folks, and all, and that will definitely want to dive into the dietary aspect of the matrix. That's the nicest word we can use. Again, this is why I said I won't talk a lot about current events, right? Because it's all literal shit. I'm trying to do the Chris, and who's it? Is it Chris Rock? No, it's Cat Williams that does the mic drop, when he's cracking himself up. It doesn't work on this one, though. Okay, so today we've got Google Earth up. Let's begin just a little look at Corn Creek. This is not some fly-by-night project I'm undertaking here, everybody. This will be lengthy, and what you're watching is me learning at the same time as to how to best achieve my goals here. So, bear with me, and thank you already for joining in the process. So I say that to say there's so much material, right, that I figure the best way is to just start showing some videos of the places, going there, seeing what arises, have a little fun, and just show you and get the audience sort of a baseline, oh, okay, that's that place, and then we can start fleshing out, story more is at least the way this seems to be going. So I'm going to share this map. Having said that, can you hear Jacob panting? We went for a walk to make sure he'd sit here. Okay, so now format. See, I've got to get back over here in format. Let's get me little. There we go. Now let's hop back over to the map. Okay. So in yesterday's episode, we were centering ourselves here in Prattville, right? And we were exploring this mound right up in this area here that mimics the impact crater, which is in Wetumpka, Alabama, which is here. So if you remember, see downtown Wetumpka actually sits right here. So it's on the edge of here. You can see the outline of the crater, right? Let me sort of center it here. Here's your outline, right? Okay. So downtown sits on the rim, right? And then the Coosa River, which you'll be seeing video today. You'll probably see a little bit of this quartz island is what I call it, here in the middle of the Coosa. But even if you zoom in on this map here, just north of town, you'll see represented all through the Coosa, depending on which satellite overlay we've got, these islands, right? They're rock from the impact, obviously, upheaval, creation, all of that. It's got quartz in it, mica, all kinds of stuff, right? Just jutting up, right? Okay. All through. Well, just here north of town, you'll see here on the map Corn Creek. In fact, you can see Corn Creek Park. Duh, Jason. So let's get our reference point for the crater rim, right? Is right here, guys. I mean, all the way to the river, essentially, right? And then right here, you have Corn Creek. All right, so this is where we're going to look at video. So I usually begin, there's a waterfall right here, as you see. And then when you hike way on back up in here, up, look at that, behind the Jehovah's Witness and the Center Point Fellowship, behind the churches. That's amazing. See, you can actually see it right here. There's a second set of waterfalls, which nobody seems to even know about, which Jacob and I hike to often. So you're going to see a lot of video from this little stretch. I in one of my videos, even filmed myself pointing out that these structures here appear to be on earthen mounds, right? They really do. There's earthen mounds all over this territory. One day we'll just grab LiDAR and start looking at it together. This would have been to center everybody on sort of the native and DeSoto versus Tuscaloosa story from the DeSoto Chronicles. This Coosa River is traditionally understood to be the basic dividing point between Coosa's territory over here on the right of your screen to the east, and then to the west you have Tuscaloosa's territory through here. And then much of the story unfolds all through this area. You'll even see here what I call the winged serpent earthwork, reflected pretty good here in green. I like it in fall too. You see here a head, right, and an eyeball. And you can see before the downtown Millbrook was put and cleared in here, this swamp-like feature continues, you see, all the way around, right, to the river bend. With Goat Island, as I know it, they call it Jackson Lake Island, right here, which looks very much like a winged or feathered feature. Also, these odd old-growth cedar swamp features over here. The thing that convinced me on the earthwork aspect of this is if you see these rows here in the front of what we could call a somewhat serpentine head, some say jackal-like. If you zoom in, you'll see these rows, guys, okay? Now, I've been in here on foot, right? These are old growth cedar trees. This is swamp, right? This is not modern man geoengineering, okay? Modern man's foray. You know, you see there's this little house, you know, somebody took advantage of the pond, right? Okay, that's it. Now, the rest of the features would make up this head. You see that the branches of two creeks, you can really see it on the LiDAR map. Here, they form and they 90 down into this swamp, which then has these rows, right, that are cut into it. You can see it going the entire way before the swamps then, the creeks then return to themselves. Jackson Branch feeds in over here. Okay, so see when I zoom out again, see in the way the creek feeds back over here to continue, you know, this appearance, right? But all of this was swamp. You know, there's buildings here that had to rely on landfill, right? Now, the town of Attahachie, where Tuscaloosa and DeSoto met, as far as my findings go, I've placed in this general area, right here. Just north of this, I believe the technical term is intaglio or intaglia for earthworks, which are negative in space, right? You know, and that's how, instead of being piled on top of the earth. But this also plays into the antediluvian Alabama side of the story. You know, I would, if something like this is geoengineered, I'm not sure we're talking potentially about Tuscaloosa's people. You know, this thing is big, guys. You see the house, you know, right? You see a little propane tank in the trailer, right? In the old tin roof house. You know, that shows you where we're at, right? And you see how big this thing is. So, and then right over here is where we have the site of Mobilla, right? Is right in here, and that mound that we looked at yesterday is right where I just had my pointer and I zoomed away, didn't I? I forget there's people watching. That's a good thing, though. Right in here, right? Right in here is where that crescent mound is, right? And then the Mobilla complex proper under this neighborhood, mostly now. So that gives you the lay of the land, right? Because that's what I'm really going for here, is to hopefully get to the point to where I'm not only skillful enough, but I have the audience sort of with enough, seen enough video and have enough of these frames of reference that you start to see this area in which the story of Tuscaloosa, DeSoto, the natives, and potentially what happened before unfolded, right? But specifically here, my intent is to show us these videos and show you the magic that I find in the places first and foremost. So we're going to zoom in now on Corn Creek, and I'm going to start playing some videos. I'll show you some videos, and today's episode we just might get a look at. You see this island out here, right? When the water is down, you can walk out to it. Well, it's piled with rocks. It's piled with, well, here we go. Stuff like this, right? I'm not big screened. Well, this is where we're going today, and I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So let's come back here. So, and let's widen me out, right? Now, this is a quartz stone, type of quartz, right? Some striations in it. These big, obvious hunks of like smoky quartz. And if I can get it from underneath the wood, I don't know. But if you can see back here behind me, there's also, hunks of this like the mica stone with quartz in it. This one even balances on its own, so it's like it was cleaned, like made to be a display piece. That's the way it seems. Much like this piece back here. This here is petrified wood that I don't know if I can, it's propping everything up. But I've got a video I can show you. But that gives you an idea, right, of some of when I say there are rocks on this island, right? And because there's a Jordan Dam at the top of this river, we can go back to share here. No, I had to do that down here. Share screen. Google Earth, share, okay? So Jordan Dam is right here, okay? See, so not far. This little island's right here at the bottom. Here's the dam. Now, they release this, except for now, fortunately, because it's very dry, right? But usually every weekend, this is getting released for kayakers especially. There's several kayak businesses that run this. I love kayaking this. It's a great time. And so beautiful, right? But because of the damming, this island that's barely above water level is constantly having water above it for a while, running, and then below it. And so it's filled. Imagine that for however long the dam's been there. I don't know, 70, 80 years, whatever it's been, right? So these rocks are now gray. You can even see a bit on the back of this one. See that blackness that gets on them, right? Well, until you bring them home and clean them off, it looks like, oh, it's just an island of rocks. Well, I've got some video I can reference here, and you'll see that, no, I've got stuff behind me. It's quite more than that. It's all of these seemingly worked pieces of quartz and stone and, massive pieces of quartz that are piled up on this little spit of land. And when this water was flowing at its natural level, which is something like now when the water level's low and they're hardly flowing the dam, like one generator running, right? You can see this, and you can imagine that before it was all filth covered, right? What this would have been, in the sunlight, right? What a magical place this would have been in the sunlight before we dammed it. And just to imagine so much of the native stuff that DeSoto mentioned, because having located, Mobilla and then worked my way backwards, solved part of the conundrum that has long, held archaeologists as to whether DeSoto came down the east or the west side of this Coosa River, because there were only two river crossings mentioned. I won't go into that, but those familiar with the story will know what I mean. Well, since having found Mobile and worked backwards, I know he crossed here, would have been somewhere between here and down here at Parker Island, where the rivers meet, right, and then gone over to Attahachie. But to continue on, much of what DeSoto would have encountered are now under lakes all over the southeast, right? Okay, so that's our map. That's a little story of the area. And so now, because of lessons learned yesterday, as we venture into Corn Creek, I'm going to have to close this. Goodbye. Stop sharing. And we're going to venture over to videos. Careful which ones you close. Let's bring it back. Let's check on the chat. We're all friends here. Thanks, Tammy. It is Dave Chappelle. That's a while back. Let's get Tammy up there. Yes, we are friends. Thank you. And Miss CMS, thanks for including us on your learning journey. Well, thank you for being here for most of it. Everybody can claim what they want about how long they've known about what I do, but I don't think there's anybody around just about, at least that's speaking publicly, that can say they've been looking at my stuff for longer than Miss CMS here. Literally before I was even trying to go public, somehow she's like she might be my CIA handler now that I think about it. Time for another Dave Chappelle. It's a doctor got to do paying attention to me. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's get to some videos, y'all. So let me go to albums because you probably don't want to see my memes, although this one is pretty funny. Heck, why not? So share screen. Okay, before we get to work, you can have a laugh. Let's look at iCloud. There we go. You can't be spiritual and be cussing all the time. Me, spiritual and cussing all the time. That's why the fuck your throat chakra is blocked. With arthritis. You gotta laugh, guys. Have you checked the news? Have you checked the news lately? I have. You gotta laugh, and you gotta walk away from somebody that tells you that the words that come out of your mouth have anything to do with how God feels about it. What if God were a native Chinese speaker? He wouldn't even, realize what you were saying, but it's also quite silly and quite religiosity, whichever, far out there word you want to try to reach and pull back with the how rule-based and control-based and fear-based, the idea that vocal cords flapping in air. Now, words are power, right? No doubt. Words are power, but, yeah, to hang so much on something so small is, frankly, it's silly and not in the ha-ha we aim for here kind of way, but that's a good meme. Okay, let's get back to Corn Creek, right? So I'm just going to start you with today, because today was interesting. Today had a lot of nature, and today's little walk did. It might take 10 minutes to take today's walk and just sort of let you get a vibe for the place, and I might do a little commentary along the way. And if we feel like it, we'll start getting a further look at maybe that quartz island out in the Coosa River and what all this means. But the main goal today is to take you on this little walk and just introduce you sort of to the place a bit. Does that sound good, Jacob? Sounds good. You hear me? All right, now work. Have I got, no, I need to close windows. Okay. All right. And let's get back and correct our formatting before we begin playing. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I haven't checked numbers, but I do see you all in the chat. What's up, Sarah? We got the corn. Let's go with it. Looking good, except I want to be small. Great.
If you caught yesterday's live stream, we talked about Corn Creek here on the edge of the impact crater in Wetumpka, Alabama. Jacob and I are at Corn Creek today. We dodged our first snake.
And it was only the first.
Off the path.
It was only the
That's why
first.
Jacob's still on the leash. He was right Stay close, bud. We'll see if we can show him off or if he did the right thing and got his ass out of here. Yeah, he's gone. He was about a 3.5 footer. So yeah, welcome to the jungle in all ways here in central Alabama on the edge of the impact crater at Corn Creek. We're gonna go live stream when we get back to the headquarters here in a bit. But we're gonna climb on up here about, I'd say, a quarter to half a mile. There's a waterfall even more impressive that we'll take a look at today on finding things within and without. No, I don't know a time yet. I don't think I'm adept at the live streaming game enough yet to sort of have you sort your days around me. But for those friends that have been tuning in, thank you. And we'll see you sometime later on after we go play in this.
Okay, so full disclosure, and I'm not going to ruin the why, but let's just say we didn't make it to the second waterfall today. So I will end up having to cheat and show you the copious amounts of other
I don't think I'm adept at the live streaming game
footage that I have from there. I'm up there all the time. But carrying on with our walk. Okay, so we had the snake. Now we're gonna have a bee, and you'll see. You can't make this up. I just recorded a video for my advert a second ago. I'm heading upwards with Jacob. First of all, really cool rock. I'll look at it in a second. I want to hold him back from this. I swear, I just walked up and saw it sticking there like that. It's a fucking ace, too. I leaned down to look as soon as I saw it, and sure enough, it's an ace. That's not all. Bzz. And QB. And here's the B landing on my hand at the same time. Bearing good news, usually. Morning from Corn Creek. It makes me laugh. It's the magic of a place, you know. It's the magic of a place. I don't know what to say about the card, guys. You know, God works through whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of trash in this creek. I really don't know. But the bee, you know, and we'll continue on with the nature contact, which is this place in the springtime. The bee would not. I nearly cut the video back on because it was just like zzz, like landing in my hair. So now on a spiritual level, you know, the any yellow winged bee-like creature is supposed to be a bearer of good news, right? Or seen as a general good omen. And if you are vibing right properly with nature, as you see, there's nothing to fear, right? Even with, as you'll see here, with what Jacob encounters. Oh, no, I can go next. Bam. That guy's carry. Look at this. Butterflies. every sandbar just about is like that with the butterflies. Jacob, Sarah, what did so Sarah there in the chat? She termed them. Were they sky raisins or were they, were they winged raisins, air raisins? This the rocks, the pile of rocks you saw there in the beginning were done by a family that I'd seen from out of town that were here one of the past, like say 5 days that I'd come out here, maybe last Thursday or Friday, and they were in town for their daughter's archery tournament. She'd won, but they were here in this cliff, and they were there with shovels. I looked around and they saw me coming around and just stared at me. I said, "What are you doing? Digging?" So it's a great place to dig. And matter of fact, I have this little cliff you see right here. Okay, well, I have tied rope to these trees and careened myself down once I discovered what was in the bottom of that cliff to get a hold of what was in the middle, and it was well worth the adventure. Okay, where's my next button? It's not coming up again. Oh, because I've got to minimize, right? I'm getting there, and there's our next. Okay, so Jacob and the butterflies, or the sky raisins. And no, I have not watched these back yet, so I don't know if you're even seeing some B-roll that's not worth. So you're just in it with me, okay? We're just taking a walk. I'll stop interrupting so much. Probably won't. Shut up, okay? It's enough. So smooth on the bottom as a base. It's like desk art. You see, that's you could call it a feature. You know, you might see in a lot of the stuff you locate on both the macro and the micro, and in grotesque amounts. Let me pull myself back here, front and center. Uno momento. Stop sharing. Yep, there we go. Right. So you see how that little piece I was showing that I guess I could have put it next to me. Right? It seems not natural simply because of how it seems worked down to that point and then accentuated on the bottom so that it could rest. Well, you see the same, right, in many of the stones, and even this is still quite covered in the gray, right, bilge. But I wanted to bring some stuff in to start setting behind me, right? It's like a fin. You know, those qualities in many stones, big and small. Back to the walkthrough. Maybe. Oh, no. Okay. All right. So let's learn our lessons from yesterday. I got to stop interrupting is what I got to do. Does it do it when I'm not sharing? It does. So that was basically the end of that video. While I'm not sharing and I've got everything else closed, let's click to the next one. It's not going to want to play. Okay, so we just give it a minute. All right, I learned that yesterday. Is this an extra studio that's open? I don't need that one open, do I? No. Okay, we've got everything closed now. Let's see what it does. It's going to stick. It's going to stick. Of course it's going to stick. Okay, so let's do something, and is that going to play? No. There's one that plays, but that takes us back. There were a few videos yesterday that I didn't share, but I really, let's give this 1 second. Let's see if there's anything else we could talk about before we finish our walk, or, you know what we could do is we could hop back into, I know, this sucks. This isn't, all right, so let's go with screen share, and let's just continue exploring, see if we can get anything to play. The area of Corn Creek, we don't have to necessarily come with today's walk, although the snake was there. Just ruined it, didn't I? I did. It was something to see. Okay, and that one's going to play. All right, look at that. Okay, so the interesting one isn't. So this one I started recording because of the buzzard. All right, so you'll see the buzzard. So I missed the first buzzard. All right, that was my first alert. Giant buzzard. Have you heard a buzzard take off out of a tree? That's something, right? Just rattles the limbs like a dog's up there. So that got my attention, and I watched him and didn't have my camera ready. Let's get me back down here. Here we go. All right, and let's take a look at what Jacob and I encountered before we reached the fabled second waterfall. Oh, I smell the carcass they're on. See the buzzard? I don't know if I can get him in the camera. There he is. There he is. And as soon as I find the buzzard, it's time to not be looking where I'm stepping. Yeah, they got something. Oh, shit. Yeah, a lot of death. A lot of snakes. Jacob! Let me get him clearing on the leash. Come on, Jake! Jacob! Jacob! He's right there at it. Lord bless him. Okay, he's clear. You see that? Come on, dude. We got to get on the leash. He's not trained yet. Whatever's dead is big up in there. All right. I got to do work now. Corn Creek. There goes the snake. He was making sure the birds were gone, and then he's going to get out of the way. All right, Jacob. So when I tell you guys that you have to learn how to operate around snakes when you're exploring around here, there was sky raisins. There we go. Aquatic zoomies. Yeah, that's what he had away from that snake. Glad dinner was delicious, Tammy. Yeah, there was a carcass. So I didn't investigate it. Is the punchline? Jacob, Luna, I trust around snakes. Luna and I went everywhere, but Jacob is 7 months old. And look, as soon as we left the snake, I was like, let's turn around. And I get to the next sandbar, and he's there pawing and eating a frog that's jumping. Anything that moves, he wants to put his mouth on. At this state of the game. So I was just not going to mess with, all the snakes that were out today with him, otherwise, we would have kept going. But I did not, but I did record the chunk of this presentation was to be a 5-minute video here before the snake interaction. Let's try one more time to get that to play, or then we'll punt, keep rolling, and we'll look at some waterfall stuff because there's plenty of material from here. But there were some cool stones in the beginning of this second video. No, I don't want you to play. I want you to minimize. And then I want to go back here. Yeah, and it's still not wanting to do anything. Let's wait a second. Okay, so for viewership's sake, let's see, what did we say here? All right, I had to leash Jacob up because of the insane amount of snakes. And this was the advert I ended up putting out. So you guys have seen that. So let's go back over here to our Corn Creek album. And let's just look at some footage from last week. Because it's so different. The video that's not showing, I was really trying to showcase sort of the micro environment of the place, the way that around each turn of each little bend, the micro environment shifts for you, which is excellent for so many very reasons, outside of biodiversity and for just cooling your human self off, but for the delineation and creation of what seem to be different spaces all along the way. And that deeply adds to, I use the word magic just because it's a handy word, but the overall, probably what's a Japanese word for flavor is like umami, of the place, right? Power is a good word of the place, right? So let's look here. We can look at some of the collections, but first I want to continue. Let's try to continue that little walk we were doing and make it up to that second waterfall. So here's a couple of good bits from there. Let's see if this one will play.
Ow. Let's take a second. I hear you, dude. Just to look at the beauty of this rock. I hope the shininess is showing through. The light is getting low, but the beauty of this stuff.
I'll show it again, Tammy.
Strange rocks continue, and sand beaches. We continue forward.
So this is the same creek,
look, man,
just a little further past the snake and buzzard.
You can't stop at everyone. You don't find anything new that way. Come on, bro. There he goes.
So we would be up now just past the Jehovah's Witness in the First Presbyterian. So let's continue here with this and see what we end upon, since today's aren't playing nice. Here you can see where the two creeks split. I'll just play a second of this, or come in to form then Corn Creek. A few weeks back, you can see everything just blooming.
It really does just become all about the beauty of the place. With the quartz, veined rocks, hunk's just as big as you want it. Where's little? But the light and the place take over your senses. sanctuary if ever there was one. Come here and imagine the native people, the whole population that would have recognized this garden.
So, for context, that's why I laid you out sort of the map in the beginning, right? With where we are in regards to the um, Hernando de Soto expedition, simply because those chronicles serve as our only. You feel the energy through the TV. Exactly. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, it's a powerful place. So we know from the chronicles, right? Let me get the DeSoto remnants off the DeSoto Chronicles, right? We know from these the numbers that were right here in this area, is pretty well talked about. The area where he encountered Tuscaloosa's son and Coosa and Tallahassee and all of that when they were coming down, right? So I'm not just imagining, right? When I'm in these places, I'm trying to access the reality that they would have encountered, right? Because they were most certainly here, is not just evidenced by the myriad, of stones and all of that, right? But they're here, in the mountains. We'll study the lidar one day. But I'm going to continue on here with just a few more here, and then maybe we're not quite at our hour yet. We'll venture out and look at that island in a second in the Coosa, where I pull all this stuff from. But let's see if I can get back over here and properly share. All right, and now I hear. Hang on one second. Corn Creek. Someone here in the household has YouTube playing, and so I can hear myself. So whoever you are, you could probably turn it down so that I don't hear myself. Nice. Okay, thank you. So where were we? We were are we sharing yet? We are sharing. Okay. So now let's continue to look at this waterfall. Okay, and that's back to the original waterfall. So let me see. Let me zoom back out, guys. I don't want to just sit here and waste all your time. I've got a few more good shots from pondering that little waterfall there from more recently. Yeah, let's look at this, and then perhaps we'll go take a look at that island. You can see here a really nice exposed quartz vein. There goes Jacob over it. Here as we approach the waterfall. Yeah, undoubtedly a sacred spot for many reasons. Look up here, we have a rose quartz vein here.
Again, we're right on the outside rim of the impact crater. Yeah, many reasons it would have been a sacred space, right, dude? Many reasons. Sacred degrees. All right, up and over, man.
So you've seen the quartz in the ground now, right? You've seen it in all its loose form, and we could even spend, we could spend a lot of time just looking at that. If I can zoom in here, you see all of this down here. This is all in our Corn Creek folder. What I want to do though is take a look at some of the things that are pulled out of Corn Creek. How long is this? Let's see, what's this about?
Now, from this angle,
you see what looked like the harvest. Hang on. You can see what looked like the harvesting marks there. And then here I'm showing you the quartz again, which I just showed you, in these veins, right?
you can see what appear to be harvesting marks of some sort. Not as dramatic from this angle, but you can still see what I'm talking about. See what I'm talking about is quartz, that Jacob's standing on. It's in pieces. Here at Corn Creek, returned from a trip down to the quartz beaches of the Gulf Coast.
A few weeks ago. Okay, so we've established now, looking at all of this. Here, let's look at some rocks that are found just walking along the way. A little quartz. Not like this.
Or harvesting. That's a beautiful piece. That's every piece.
All right. More pondering, more me showing you the place. I'm going to try today's one last time showing the change in environments, which is here, and see if it wants to load, and it's still acting like it doesn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop out now. Oh.
I lingered.
Everything in its right time. All right. So here we go. Let's look at a few rocks that again gathered in one spot today, and hear what I had to say about the microenvironments, and then we'll wrap up today's episode with a little look at the island and some stuff gathered. Thanks, everybody. I haven't checked in with the chat. Let me grab my phone when I press play.
For a moment in one spot, just collecting the little rocks. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to do a quick sort of little pan through of just walking along right here. Look at this guy.
Cade like Cade that I bumped into on the airplane. Cade that used to hang out with Logan. Cade, what's up, dude? Okay. All right, you got to tell me how you found this. All right, it just pulled on your feed. All right, so what's up, Amy? Good to see you in the chat. All right, so Cade here. Let me hop over. You guys got to hear this story. All right, so Cade here, who says yes, it's him. Okay, so Cade used to come hang out with Logan. In fact, Cade can confirm for you how Logan found the spot up on Hatchet Creek, which we're going to look at here soon. You were there when Logan was led to the place, and that really goes to the heart of what I'm doing here, Cade, which is trying to show these people it's the magic, right, of these places. Let me do this. It's not letting me do that. Let me stop sharing. It's the magic of these places, which is how we started finding them, just as you and Logan know, man. Anyway, Cade here up and moved, right? He hung out with Logan, would hang out by the fire, talk shamanic shit, and it was led there by them. And Logan is how I first found Hatchet Creek, and you guys that have followed my work know exactly what's going on at Hatchet Creek, but we'll be covering it here soon. Anyhow, let's carry on with this Cade story. So Cade up and leaves. You go to, was it Vegas or San Diego? You take off, right? And you head out to catch a job and do your thing. And it's a long time. What I mean by that was a year or two. I don't know how long it is. I'm on a plane back from, was it recently when I was coming back from Phoenix? No, it was longer when I was coming back from Dallas. And I'm catching a layover somewhere. Where were we? I don't know where we were. We were catching a layover, and there's fucking Cade on my plane back to Montgomery. It was insane. And now here he is in the chat. Yeah, what's up, dude? You'll have to watch this back. I showed a lot of crazy stuff from Corn Creek. Yeah, I think it was Dallas where we met up. Dude, I'm glad to see you. I hope you're well. Check on Logan. I haven't heard from him. Well, I heard from him about 2 weeks ago. Needed nicotine. Dude, I'm very glad to see you, man. Good. I'm glad. He says he's planning on coming back soon. Yeah, Cade can attest to the power of these places. This precisely is what I'm trying to showcase, bro. Is just build them up to the power, of these places, and then we get to what role they played in the story, right? So let's get back to our video, and dude, God bless you, man. It's so good to accidentally bump into you again. It is, Tammy. It is a very good story. Absolutely. Oh, we're not going to finish this one. See, I messed up, Cade. I messed up. Whenever I stop the video, it won't continue. So what? But you were worth it, dude. And telling the story about you visiting, bumping into me was definitely worth it. Yeah, reach out to him soon. Yeah, I talk to him, every week and a half, 2 weeks. Thanks, bro. All right, let's get back over here and try one more time. I don't have to say try. I know some of these videos will work. It just won't be, I'm not going to be able to guide this ship, obviously. Tried that, never worked. See, so we're just going to zoom back. And let's take ourselves out to this island as we close in on our hour mark. And some of the things that Logan and I've got video of, let's find the Logan video. I've got video one day with Logan washing all this shit off. See, you find it all out here. There's Logan, and let me show you guys a video of sort of where you find this stuff and how it looks out there. If this will play. That's not going to play. All right, let's get the Logan video of us washing this stuff off once we were back home. Maybe. Nope. Yep, maybe. All right, we're just going to give it a minute. How's everybody doing? We already did that, didn't we? But look at this quartz. You already see this triangular piece of quartz here. All right, we're going to try one more time the stop sharing, and then I'm going to flip over until we find one that wants to play. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it at our hour, and we'll get back to this later. Okay, this one wants to play. So share now, screen, Corn Creek, share.
And good morning. So this is going to be a quick little update of the bucket of quartz you saw me gathering down at the Coosa River as we attempt to establish that every rock on that beach that you pick up that is currently covered in algae and gray sludge because we've dammed the river is in fact quartz, is in fact artifact. You tell me. Quartz. Is it a fish? Look at that. Look at the crystals in there. I don't know. What's that? Still got a lot of soaking. They've been in soaking overnight so far. This is wild. This is a wild one. See all the algae still coming off of it. Don't know what we've got going on here yet. Still getting all the algae and muck off of it. Petrified wood. Shot quartz. More quartz getting cleared up as it soaks. Yeah, so I just wanted you to get a look at it. More of this purple smoky sort of shot quartz. It's an interesting island.
This is the piece behind me before I got it cleaned off. Yeah. Wonder if it'll play. It's going to say, I don't want to, man. Why? When you've got me all cleaned off right here behind you. You guys can't see me. I'm minimized, aren't I? All right, so we'll just flip through some pictures then. That's what we'll do since the videos don't want to play. And then I've got several already loaded from the island I can show you. See the piles of quartz here. That's a video that's not going to play. All right, so me cleaning it off, and Jacob and I playing back at Corn Creek. All right, so next, guys, let me zoom back out and let me show you video from just out at the island, if we can find some that'll work. This one's widescreen. See what this does. Nope. I know I can hear Ricardo in my ear. That's why you don't record with the cloud. Plus, we're already at an hour. But what I can do real quick is we can take a look at my X feed. And you know what? Uh-oh.
So with our visit with Mr. Dickerson over at the Wetumpka Impact Crater Commission Museum, we saw all about the availability of these particular stones due to the impact crater, such as the quartz being shaped, you see. Now, if you can't take, look at the quartz here, this, and I have plenty of other videos showing how these natural materials, you hear the quartz? Look at that, it's beautiful.
right? You saw the raw forms of this in the museum. If you watched my last video, but you know, if you can't see the human hand shaping
It's like a tablet.
these items, I really don't know what to tell you.
And I think the rest is me talking, and I'm not here to play videos like that. I'm here to show you guys this place. You know where to find videos of me talking. So I'm hoping that we can get one from the island to play before I wrap. I'm at my hour, and if I'm gonna start, trying to do this semi-daily, at least 3 or so times a week, maybe more, I do want to keep it around the hour so that I'm not taxing the audience in any manner. Let's see. Here's a short one. Maybe this one will play. No. Okay. So none of those are to play. So what we're going to do before I say goodbye, I'll come check in here with you in the chat. And I'm going to pull up my X highlights. No, don't maximize, man. Yeah, here we go. All right, and let's check this out. Okay, so for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, when I showed you the map just north of the crater and town, and I said, there's an island and it's covered with these rocks, which I've been showing you harvest. You've now been up Corn Creek. You've seen where this stuff is coming out, from the ground itself. You've seen where it's been harvested. You've seen it in its various states of being raw to shaped, etc. And here we are at the island, literally at the mouth. So where Corn Creek hits the Coosa, you go straight out, and there's this. Okay, so who knows the rock sounds? We've turned over a few, and as you can see, and I'll demonstrate to you when I get home to the bleached bucket, it's absolutely everywhere. Now, what would you have done if you grew up in this place? These quartz islands, birds overhead, nature in all its literal possible beauty on full display every day of your life, communing with it, growing in it, learning with it, on and on for generations. And then something foreign, something devastating and harsh and metallic and greedy comes marching in on four-legged animals. What would you do? I sit in the middle of this river, and it's apropos because this river represents dividing line, choices between Tuscaloosa's territory and Coosa. And that represents two very different reactions to that invasive, parasitic DeSoto expedition. Coosa used it. He bowed to it. He gave it what it wanted. His men, his women. He used that invasive pest's force to dominate and domineer his local enemies and rivalries. Of course. Over here, It's everywhere.
Tuscaloosa did something different.
He knew what that meant to this place. And he wasn't going to have it. And he put a plan in place, the likes of which makes me proud every time I think of it. And it will you too. He didn't just stand up. He put a plan in place. He sent his son ahead to meet DeSoto here at this river, to tell him of 2 roads that went to his town. Check them both out. Come back, please, I beg. DeSoto, no! Tuscaloosa's son, yes, please, we want you comfortable. See, from the beginning, DeSoto and that invasive pest of a force march in to Attahachie, and Tuscaloosa, who is squatted like this, stays. Doesn't even look at them. 600 to 900 human beings, 350 of these 4-legged beasts, metal, armor, banners, slaves. Never seen anything like that. And he didn't look at it. How would you respond? It's a beautiful place.
So right back there is, hold up, right back there is Corn Creek. So where it flows in, a lot of trees, obviously, so you can't, but I'll show you right here, okay? So this is Corn Creek back up in there. That tree fell 2 seasons ago. It's now been chopped up. But this is Corn Creek, and this is that island full of these quartz stones of varying sizes. And, of course, this petrified wood, which I'm not maximized, I'm minimizing. It's time for me to stop sharing because we're getting in on closing time. Let me come back to you guys. Here we are, Riverside. What's going on, y'all? Okay, so let's stop sharing. Let's get us back front and center. Yeah, it does get heavy. I've got several videos we could look at of me, basically showing that process, right, of carrying all this stuff over these years. I mean, think of all the DeSoto metal, that I've got, and every bit of that was, just me by hand, buckets, Cade, if he's still around, he can attest to Logan, or I carrying shit out in pockets, backpacks, buckets. And this piece, which, well, that'll come loose. Okay, we talked about it. So as we're closing out, carefully, you see something like this. Look, right? Now, that was in about 1.5 feet of water right there where you just saw me. And it was covered in bilge, right? To anybody else, it would look like an oblong rock. Right. And since we're looking at artifacts from the area, I'm sorry if you were waiting for me to end, but there's one more artifact. Let's see if this video in the Corn Creek file will play. And let's look at this bad boy. Well, we can just look at it whether this plays or not, can't we? So, and it looks like it's going to behave. So let's share quickly. Share screen, photo, share. All right, now do I have where you can see? You can see, okay, and you can see me, groovy. Let's go play this real quick. This was found in about 2.5 feet of water in the exact same spot where the piece I just showed you was found. And you can see from my own feet the size of this piece. Okay, so I'm not going to post about it until I get it cleaned off. But
pulled this out of the river today. It's rock, and it didn't put itself into this shape.
Okay, so that thing, I'm not good at guesstimating weight, but I mean, I don't know, 150 or so. You know, I barely got out of there. So it was on the other side of that island I was just showing you. Let me get back to Riverside so I can see what's going on. This piece was on just, you see, it's about 4 feet, long, maybe give or take. And yeah, it was on the far side of that island. And when I pulled it up, I would say all that was sticking out was like, that one long end and then that little top edge, and my foot felt that smoothness. And I just went, instinct at this point, right? Oh, wait a minute. I get down there and I'm like, well, that's big, whatever it is, but that smoothed edge is not this river, and you pull it up and it's this thing, and I could barely lift it. Now, Tuscaloosa was reported somewhere in the 8-foot tall range, perfectly handsome, well-proportioned, eyes like oxen, horse wouldn't hold him, big man. Probably wouldn't struggle with something like that. Neither would his son, 7.5 feet, roughly. Those are the thoughts that enter my mind as I pull things like this and that from that island there in Corn Creek. It's straight magic. It really is. Magic, power, all of the adjectives above apply to this place. Here is hopefully a video that will play just to give you a little shot of video of the beauty, and it's not. So we're pushing what, an hour 20 now. So I guess we're gonna call this episode number 4 of Finding Things Within and Without. I think the video I played there about Tuscaloosa and the dividing line that was the Coosa River and what these people experienced living here, what it was they were living with, communicating with, that is part and parcel, part of this project, and the alliteration just won't leave me alone. This parsimonious project that I'm potentially putting some prerogative. The kernel of it is very much in correct, Tammy, and spiritual is simply material which can't be observed with these senses. I mean, when you call something a light body, you're just saying I can't see it, but maybe my cat can. Yeah, exactly. Our words, have to sort of be relooked at. Words have weight and ancient weight, right, and things associated with them that aren't necessarily what you're trying to communicate, right? So the listener is going to be going, but power, I think there's a native word from some culture like manatau or manitou, that's for that thing, power of a place, just sort of that innate power. In a place like this, just the quartz alone, think of the piezoelectricity and all that comes from it, let alone the power from that impact crater. The impact crater, they said they found stuff in it that wasn't, in the middle, minerals that aren't from Earth, right? And they're coring. So the power of the place is huge. You said you could feel it through the screen. You can certainly feel it there in real life. And these people who lived there for generations upon generations, they would have certainly felt it, and I think it would explain much of what confused the DeSoto chroniclers about what they were seeing in these people, in the way they behaved, the way they carried themselves, and the way they interacted with their three-dimensional environment that did not compute from what they were carrying with them, right? For their narrative, their understanding of the world and reality, they were carrying it over here, right? And when they look for something, they look for themselves, and if they don't see themselves, they call it savage, right? so they can kill it and take it over. But it's the furthest thing from savage, right? Anybody that's familiar with the lost civilization hunt, call it Atlantis, call it antediluvian, right? You're familiar with the saying that any sane mind puts forth, which is you're not looking for us, right? Looking for a busted cell phone or any type of technology like that, you're running down the wrong path, right? Well, it's the same thing here with this native culture. And you see it expressed by the befuddlement of these authors, right? With what they encountered. And you see it when you go out into these places and you start seeing these signs of habitation, these signs of respect for these natural features, these using of them, these crafting of them to things to bring into their house. And finally, as we covered yesterday, they're building a mound, a memorial, and even a dry bed creek to correctly and properly, even aligned north to south, map this crater and this spot of this river with an island of quartz at the mouth of it. It's a powerful place, and that's Corn Creek. And this is Finding Things Within and Without, episode number 4. I'd like to thank everybody that has stopped by. I'd like to thank you for supporting me, no matter how long, no matter when you started, no matter where you're watching, as I take this journey of sharing all of these things which I have found both within and without myself, and in that order particularly. Yes, that's a skull, and yes, that's I found that wand. I sure did. Made it myself. And some quartz. This piece is really cool. Okay, and then look in the middle, at the end there. Can you see the quartz crystal? Look at it, the light shining through. Bing! It's like a human bone-shaped wand. Corn Creek, right there at the mouth on that island. More shaped quartz. This is from Mobilla, though, over by the mound. Recognize that shape if you've watched any of my videos. See, harvesting it over there at the crater, shaping it, bringing it to the mound. Finding things within and without. Our best future requires the truth of our past. I love you all, and I will see you again, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, but I hope to get a third episode in before I start the weekend round of shows. We'll have the round table, which has usually been coming at you Saturday nights. We'll have the shaman and the philosopher. We've mostly been doing Sunday nights, but we might switch up this week because Sunday afternoon we are bringing back the Mars, hashtag Mars Disclosure Live with Brian Corey Dobbs. Over there, we're doing it at Dave's Multiverse, and we've got Sarah from here in the chat and Universe Unveiled joining us, along with John Ward and so many others. So there's a long weekend of podcasting ahead, but I do hope to at least get 1 or 2 more of these up under my belt. I believe I'm sorting it out better and getting a little better at it each time. So I gotta do more of them. And I've got a lot of stuff to look at. And as I said, guys, I'm just trying to lay a foundation, get you to sort of step with me into this environment and begin to lay a map out for it, for you. And then as we explore the story further, you will have already seen the place and experienced it as best you can. And if you can, come see me and I'll show it to you firsthand. Love you guys. I'm going to press stop, not leave now, so this will still be available on YouTube for everyone else to see. Jacob is still snoring. That's good news. And 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'll see you guys.